Hello, I'm Doron Ellen Beldotan in Sfat in Israel. And with Hashem's help, I'd like to speak today more about Lori Shem Tov, the mother and the activist who is in jail now for about 1.5 years, and the people who worked to the same purpose, that is exposing child trafficking in Israel and through Israel. Tzvi Ze'er, the human rights activist lawyer, and Moti Label. Now, Tzvi Ze'er and Moti Label are on house arrest, to the best of my knowledge. The last I heard, Lori Shem Tov is still in jail. Now, in the blurb to this video directly below, I am going to copy in part information that I have already sent to the U.S. State Department's Office Combating Human Trafficking. I should like you, please, to send that information around to your State Attorney General if he or she is already investigating pedophilia and child trafficking and the making of pedophile porn on the part of the Vatican. We know that there are direct lines, rat lines, from Israel to the Vatican back and forth. This is the same company that just dresses up in different costumes to appear local to the locals in the populations in which they operate, but this is one big organization. The Muslim pedophiles, the Christian pedophiles, the Jewish pedophiles, they all belong to the same religion and the same group of people, and they're just wearing different costumes. I'd like to speak about Lori Shem Tov in particular, and also Moti Label, because both of them compiled a huge compendium of names of people who should be the subjects of investigation. Now, I am not saying that because a name appears in their blogs or in their writings, the links to which, some of the links to which are below, with the translation devices that we have on the internet. Even if the material is in Hebrew, it's not a problem. You can read it, and certainly government investigators to whom I want, please, this information to go, have better translation facilities than what Google provides to us plebes. So there's no problem with them understanding what's going on. Lori Shem Tov and Moti Label. Now, sometimes it seemed to me that Moti Label was exaggerating a bit. I'm not exactly sure what his purposes are, whether he was just being a bit bombastic or whether he was pushing the envelope for other reasons. I don't know. I don't want to second guess him. But certainly Lori Shem Tov and Moti Label put together the most comprehensive one-stop shopping compendium of all of the potentially bad players in Israel who should be being investigated by international law enforcement that is cracking down on human trafficking. They talked about local officials. They talked about social workers, of course. They talked about police. They talked about lawyers. They talked about judges. Among those people are dirty players. And the fact that somebody is a judge is, we are not going to let them hide behind their black robes. If they are either actively child trafficking or protecting child traffickers or enabling child traffickers, they must be investigated like any other citizen, and there must be no fear about this. They do everything they can to try to terrify you. Whatever you do, don't mention the judges. Don't talk about the judges. The judges are sacrosanct. They're above the law. No, they are not. Please get this information to the officials who you know are battling child trafficking, pedophilia, and child pornography. This will be invaluable information. They have done our research for us. Now, a lot of these documents are at the Israeli State Attorney's office. A number of Lori's blogs were taken down from the internet. Some of the information is still there. She was very, very prolific. They couldn't get everything. So some of it is still there, and a lot of it is at the state attorney's office. Please ask your officials who are investigating child trafficking to subpoena that information or get it through whatever channels that are legally available to law enforcement. The state attorney's office is cooperating with the silencing of getting out information about child trafficking, and they have bragged. I heard Yael Katz. During my trial, the state attorney, Yael Katz, bragged to the sitting judge, Lily Young Gopher, that their office's cyber unit is doing everything they can to silence criticism of child trafficking in Israel. Now, that's not the way she put it. She didn't say child trafficking. She's saying silence these troublemakers that are blogging, to silence the bloggers. And the sitting judge seemed quite satisfied that troublemakers like me, like Lori Shem Tov, like Moti Leibel, like Tzvi Ze'er, are being silenced so that we cannot get information about Israel's child trafficking out. A terrible thing happened to Lori Shem Tov in jail. Soon after she arrived at the women's prison, which is a substandard prison that they have been talking about taking down for decades now, and it's left up. It is the one women's prison in Israel. It's called Neve Tirza. It is a high security prison because there's only one prison. So no matter how minor one's crimes might be, that one is there and non-violent, they're still in a maximum security prison. A prisoner at the prison was maced. I don't know under what conditions, but she was maced. The mace also got into a woman's body who was standing close by. She breathed it in. She was at that time, I believe, 7 months pregnant. The next day, she said that she felt no movement in her womb. And when they examined her, they found that her baby had died. Instead of taking her for a therapeutic abortion, which she begged them to do, they said, no, we'll wait until you go into spontaneous labor. Nothing will happen. It's okay. They were going to let her walk around with a dead baby, the baby that they killed by macing her. Not intentionally. They meant to mace someone else, but she happened to be close by, and she breathed it in too. The baby died. And on top of that, they were going to let her walk around with a dead baby inside of her until she went into spontaneous abortion. She begged them to take her to the hospital. She said it was a terrible thing to walk around with a dead baby inside of her. They ignored her. Whether or not Lori did it is unknown, but Lori was accused of being the person who told her lawyer about this incident. Someone got information to a lawyer. The lawyer was appalled by what he or she had heard and got that information out to the press. Lori Shem Tov was put into solitary confinement. I understand she was kept there for a month. She was kept there naked for being accused. Whether she did it or not, it doesn't matter. If she did it, then she did a tremendous meritorious act, tremendous mitzvah. If she didn't do it, then she was wrongly accused, but she was kept in solitary confinement for a month, naked, sleeping on a cement floor. Whoever the people who are running this state, which has the audacity to call itself the State of Israel, whoever they are, and there are evil Jews among them. Make no mistake, God is not all good. Part of, it's hard to say part of God, but God's positive inclinations are at internal war with God's negative inclinations. And now winning, we see that in the world. That is expressed in the Jewish people as well. Those of us who have sided with God's right side are good Jews. Those of us who have sided with God's left side are bad Jews. That doesn't mean that they're fake Jews. They're very, very real, and you can see that the power that they have is very, very real. It is not helpful to call them fake Jews. You minimize their potential danger by saying that they're not real Jews. Oh, they're real Jews, all right, and they have the power of real Jews, and you see that. So don't make any kind of, don't delude yourself with nonsense that they're not real Jews. They are. They're not the really good Jews. They're not the best of what Israel is, but they're Israel. They and their cohorts, their Gentile cohorts who are running this country, are bringing suffering and ignominy on all of us. And they are abusing the Gentiles horrendously. You can help. You can help by getting the information, please, to the people whom you know are legally fighting child trafficking internationally. Please let those who are in the armed forces, the white hats, know about what's going on here. Let your politicians, your legally nominated politicians, know about that. Your state attorneys who are fighting international child trafficking, call the White House. Call the State Department. Let them know this has a lot to do with you. If there is corruption in Israel, there is corruption in America and in the rest of the world. Believe me when I tell you, this is your business. There is only a limited amount that we can legally do in Israel to fight this, and the legal system has been built such that these people are protected. So we need the international backup and cooperation in order to find out who the bad players are and have them investigated. To my mind, anyone who is in a position of authority in Israel, I'm talking about Israel specifically now, who is not actively fighting child trafficking, who is not actively fighting unfair adoptions, unfair institutionalization of children, unfair removals of children from their homes, is either involved in it or enabling it or protecting it. I would say and or. And all of these people have to be investigated, including the people who have prosecuted my case, because there is absolutely no reason for me to have been prosecuted other than to try to shut me up. But the cases of Lori Shem Tov and Zvi Ze'er and Moti Leibel are far, far more immediately emergency situations, because Moti Leibel and Zvi Ze'er were in prison for quite a while. Moti Leibel was in a black hole. Yeah. They are now on house arrest, most especially Lori Shem Tov, who is in the maximum security Neve Tirza prison, although she has never been violent. Thank you for